ability to be very, very loud. So we disrupt them, okay? Okay, so thank you for coming today. We are going to talk about solving data residency issues with Hyperforce. Come on, up. Clicker. Bug. Come on. Okay, let's do it the old way. Yeah. So for those who don't know me, my name is Frédérique Mounier. I am a Salesforce solution architect at the Adecco Group. I have 11 certifications, and I am a 5-star ranger on Trailhead. I am the Salesforce, Lyon Salesforce Saturdays co-leader. My other co-leader is here. This is Simon. I am the Lyon Salesforce Women in Tech committee group leader. And I am a social builder Salesforce mentor. Social Builder is an institute that helps women reskill and get into the IT world. I am a Salesforce mentor, and I got the golden hoodie last year for friends. So I'm going to start 30 seconds. For those who just came, at the end of the presentations, I need you guys to be very loud to annoy the other room. Okay? Exactly. So, the agenda. Let's talk about what is data residency. I'm not sure you all know what it is. Then we'll talk about what Hyperforce will bring to the table and how to prepare for a Hyperforce migration. And then I'm going to put you all to work. We'll do a small exercise, okay? Let's go. What is data residency? Does anyone in the room know? No? You have no clue? No clue at all? Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yes, that's the part. So for you, because you just came back, I'm giving you the short notice. At the end of the presentation, I need you and all the room to be very loud to annoy the other room. Okay? So, 3 key components, and data localization is one of them. Any guess of the 2 other components? No? So, localization, where is it stored? So when we say about storage, we are not only talking about a country. Data residency can be about a region, it can be about a country, or it can be about an economic zone. And in your use cases that you will encounter in your projects, localization is determined by 2 factors. The law of the country or the zone, and the contracts you have with your customers, especially when they deal with very sensitive businesses, like public businesses, defense businesses, high-tech businesses. You know the drill. Second factor, someone guess? No. For data residency, no. That's how you are compliant, but no. So second is classification. Why do we want to classify data? I know you are all smart people. Please speak up. Yes, but because all data in your orgs is not the same, and it does not fall under the same legislation. Meaning, PII data, we all know this is super sensitive. It needs to be protected, and it needs to be audited. Sensitive data, those are, we know, political preferences, gender, religion. Some countries allow storing those data and working with it freely, some countries don't. You need to know what kind of data you are storing in your org. And then confidential. We are coming back to contractual enforcement, meaning if you are working with clients that are very hush-hush, their data is going to fall into confidential category. Why you are classifying your data? It's because you want to know where you are going to apply your data residency rules. Most of the time, that's PII. And then you have to find out. So, third factor, processing, transit, and storage. Again, the rules are not the same. When people think about data residency, they think about the data being in a database. That's how it is stored, how do we process it, especially for marketing content and marketing purposes. And the question we need to ask is, does that data need to be encrypted in transit? And this, there is not only one rule. It also depends on the legislation of the country or the zone you are in, and on the contracts you have with your clients. Good so far? Let's move on. So what Hyperforce brings to the table in regards of data residency? It brings two main factors. First factor, data localization. It means you are able to choose where your org's server is going to be located. Country, continent, and it's already available in India, Australia, Canada, Japan, Singapore, Germany, France, Brazil, the UK, and the USA. And that covers most of the use cases you can encounter. Hyperforce is going to be rolled out on AWS public data centers in more locations to come. What also you want to know is that your servers for replications are only located 60 miles away from your main org server. It means you always remain in the same zone. So it means the same zone, the same rules apply. You're listening, that's wonderful. Same zone. Let's move on. So data encryption. Data encryption at rest is on Hyperforce, on AWS servers, and you also may share your encryption key with other clients on the server. And this is where you want to know pretty well the legislation and your contracts rules to know if it's okay to store all your data and have the same encryption key than the other clients on the same server. If you want your own encryption key, this is called bring your own key with platform encryption with the Shield product on Salesforce. You guys all know Shield? Yes, okay. Let's move on. One key, one server, 3 clients. That's the main idea you need to remember. So, for you guys, because I know that's a subject you're interested about, how you prepare for migration to Hyperforce. Calling your AE. That's the only contact you need to have with Salesforce. You need to call your AE or your success manager. You don't need to make a ticket. You don't need to do anything else fancy. They will do all the heavy lifting. So, remove any hard-coded links to your org from your code. Hard-coded links for everyone. It's a link that references the name of your instance, NA25, A2. You want to remove all of them. Where are those encoded links? So maybe integrations, email templates, knowledge articles, and customizations. Question is, you are not going to read everything one by one. And the good news is that you have 2 standard tools in Salesforce in order to see where you have hard-coded links. You can use Salesforce Optimizer and Hyperforce Assistant. And both of those tools are accessible in the setup. Yes. You are so quiet, that's wonderful. So, in order to be compliant, remove your hard-coded link. You also want to make the move to my domain. Basically, it means you buy your custom domain, and then there is a redirection to the org. So in your code, nothing changes, and Salesforce does all the redirection via my domain. You have my domain setting in setup. This is a long name with stabilized Visual Force Experience Builder site.com and content files in setup. What it does is that when you do a change to my domain, it automatically redirects to the last URL. And each time you deploy a change to your domain details, Salesforce redirects also. And orgs Hyperforce aren't included in the URL. Clear? Everyone's so quiet. Thank you. Analyze your architecture. We are going to talk about architecture. What it means. You want to know the components in your org, and you want to know what they do, and if there are only components installed in your org, or if there are connectors actually calling another server somewhere else. What you can, with Hyperforce, what you can master is where your data is stored. What you cannot master is where the other server is located. So that's something you need to know, because you need to sort that out with your vendor. You need to understand if your vendor is willing to have a server in the same location than your Hyperforce server, or is willing to spin an instance in the same location. And that's not always possible. Diagram time, everyone? Yes, happiness. Yes, happiness. Your Salesforce org. We're happy. Let's put that on HyperCloud. So far, so good. Of course, the data is coming from a website, because Salesforce is not an island. Pardot. Are we good? Are we not good? You're working with Pardot. What does Pardot do? Marketing for B2B. So what is the classification of your data? Marketing for B2B? This is B2B. This is B2B. Hey! Okay, so data classification, we have business data. And then we have Pardot. What is the next question you need to sort out? Yes. Yes, but there is another big question. Is Pardot on Hyperforce? Because Pardot, that's another instance. That's not your org. So if, and I know that Pardot is not yet on Hyperforce. So if it's not on Hyperforce, you need to make sure that you don't need to encrypt your data in transit, and you need to make sure that your client's data is okay to be transited to Pardot. Okay, I'm not gonna let you. Let's move on to another case. Marketing Cloud. I'm not asking you. I'm not asking you. This side now. Marketing Cloud. What do you guys think? Not everywhere. Not everywhere. So that's a good thing. Let's go back to data classification first. What are we talking about when we are talking about data transiting to Marketing Cloud? Come on. Ooh. Yes. But PII data is personally identifiable data, meaning if it's only the first name and the email address, this is not PII. Meaning that your constraints are not going to be the same. If you only transit first name and email address, you can actually have your Marketing Cloud instance wherever you want. No, no. Email is PII only when it's coupled with last name. No, when it's coupled with last name. In the same. So, again. Yes, but because you always need the email address to be able to send a mail. So that one is always going to be transferable. First name, that's not PII data. If you couple last name and email address, it becomes PII data. So what does it mean? It means that you need to have a Marketing Cloud instance on Hyperforce, or it means you need to have a Marketing Cloud instance in the same area than your Salesforce instance on Hyperforce. Okay, you want to keep playing? I'm not going to let you guys. Okay, next use case. Einstein products. Yes? Exactly. That's my point. So you need to understand what all your data and dataset, PII and non-PII, you need to understand what is in the dataset. Yeah. One is following in the back. Thank you. Come on. On backup, what do you think? Yes, so classification, everything. You have PI. And what do you do? This is a vendor. This is not a Salesforce product. What do you do? Yes. Yes. And there is a delivery constraint also. Because this is backup and you have all your data. Your delivery constraint when you do a migration to Hyperforce is that you need to have your own backup instance at exactly the same time than your Hyperforce instance. Yes, but you need to make sure of it, and you need to. So that's it. That's a recap. So product map availability on Salesforce compliance, call to external servers, delegated tasks to other vendors. We said also that Einstein data can be processed outside of Hyperforce. You also need to think about support. Support is not always going to be in the same zone than your Hyperforce area. And support, for example, Australia, support is in Singapore. Australian legislation requires that PII data only be in transit for 5 minutes. Means if you have a ticket on your data, the guy answering the phone only has 5 minutes to sort your ticket. And that's it. Any questions? Come on! Was it that clear? Yes. 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 So Shield is not mandatory on Hyperforce. You know about the free products in Shield, right? Okay. So Shield is not mandatory, and you will take Shield if you need encryption in transit, because you can get encryption in transit with Shield. You will take Shield if you want to bring your own key, own encryption key on your server. You need Shield if your reporting model on your PII data has to be so granular that you need to have all the events logged in Shield in order to report on them. So what you need to understand from this presentation is you need to know your data. Just like Aaron said, you need to know your data, you need to classify your data. You need to understand what is your legal frame. What is the legal frame you're operating in? And you need to understand how to address your compliance needs. And then you need to look at all the elements in your org and sort out where you're good with Hyperforce, and sort out where you need to actually communicate with the vendor or Salesforce. And if you want to be compliant from day one, everything needs to be ready from day one. So in my opinion, this is not constraints. This is advantages, actually. You get faster sandbox spin. You get more, there is a better resiliency because of the structure of the AWS servers. They were built for B2C. And first party servers in Salesforce are built for B2B. So they work faster and they are more resilient. What you need to consider for sandbox spinning is that don't clone a sandbox that was created based on an org that was on a first party server, because the clone will be created and based on the first party server. If you don't want to bother with that, you need to contact Salesforce, actually log a ticket, and ask for the rerouting rules to be changed. So they have some technical work to do. And there are so on Hyperforce, it's always the small details, like for example, Marketing Cloud for URL shortening. they're using Bitly. And if you want to use dynamic URL, you cannot use the free version of Bitly on Marketing Cloud. You have to pay for a license. But Bitly is not willing to undergo security assessment unless you pay them. First thing. Second thing, they are not willing to actually locate their server wherever you want. So, and for Hyperforce, you need to determine all those small details. Any more questions? I'm not that scary guy. Come on. Yes, please. For Hyperforce, I don't know yet. I don't know yet. Mainly because China remains a very difficult market. So, and they do everything they can to stop Salesforce development there. Okay, so I guess everything was crystal clear because we have no more questions, and this is where I need you all. Remember, for those who are not here, the goal is to annoy the guy in the other room, just next room. We are having a contest, so I need you to be as loud as possible for as long as possible. Can we start now? Exactly. 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much for attending the session.